Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call to order the meeting of the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, and Commissioner Schaefer will be leading us in prayer. And I don't see Commissioner Sandlin here, so Commissioner Turner, you will be leading us in the pledge, if you would, please.
Let us bow our heads and pause for a moment and just hold close to us the servicemen and women that we have around the world that are helping to keep our country free so that we can meet like this. And dear Lord, I'd like to lift up to you tonight Bart Smith, a retired employee of Rutherford County, and just ask for your healing touch on him, and also Mr. Roger Allen, the continued healing for him. And now let us pray. Tonight we call upon the great I Am, who was, who is, and who is to come. We come in thanksgiving, Father God, for the blessings that you have given us, those that you are now giving us, and all of those blessings yet to come. And Father, we live in an imperfect world, and we ask you to send the Spirit of your Son, the healer, to heal our world, to show and help men and women of all beliefs to overcome physical, financial, and emotional hardships, to help gain dignity and respect for life for all the impoverished and oppressed in this world. We ask that your Spirit be with us tonight to show us, to lead us, and to give us your wisdom to guide us in your pathway. In the name of our Lord and Savior, amen.
Amen.
Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer, Commissioner Black, Commissioner Jordan, Commissioner P., Commissioner Cook, Commissioner Jernigan, Commissioner Farley.
Here.
Commissioner Phillips.
Here.
Commissioner Sandlin. Commissioner Turner.
Here.
Commissioner Allen.
Here.
Commissioner Stevens.
Here.
Commissioner Jordan. Here. Commissioner Baum. Here. Commissioner Coggin. Present. Commissioner Young. Here. Commissioner Phillips. Present. Commissioner McAdoo. Here. Commissioner Ely. Here. Commissioner Gooch. Here. Commissioner Sereno. Here. 20 present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. You have before you a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. Do we have a motion considering their approval? Commissioner
Mr.
Phillips.
Chairman, I move that they be approved as mailed.
All right. Second, Commissioner Farley. Does anyone have any corrections or additions? All in favor of that, then, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, we have one person that wishes to make a public comment tonight. So, Mr. Donald Todd, would you please come forward?
My name is Donald Todd, and I live at 633 Buck Lane. Unfinished business at the 2011 Tennessee legislative session. During the County Commissioners meeting last May, I mentioned an alarming incident that occurred during this year's session of the Tennessee General Assembly. 2 Metro agents from the Tennessee Municipal League warned one of our local Middle Tennessee state legislators not to permit House Bill 1371 to be adopted. Apparently, from past experience, the implication to members of the House Judicial Committee was that if this proposed bill were adopted, federal grants and loans would be withheld from our state. When the bill was sent to subcommittee, some members of the committee were intimidated to the point that one person chose not to vote abdicating his duty. Another left the room when the vote was called for, also abdicating his duty, and at least one other was absent. Unfortunately, the bill was sent to summer study. This is the second consecutive year when this bill has been, in effect, killed. It should be passed in 2012, denying Metro's push towards socialism. An investigation should be held to discover why the citizens were deprived of having their property owners' right of trial by jury restored. The General Assembly removed that right in 1998. In order for the states to receive federal grants, are we citizens expected to give away our rights of self-rule? 1,000 times no. Now for the second problem. Before the 2011 Tennessee General Assembly convened in January, several citizens had made requests to local state representatives that a state law, TCA 49-3-314, be set aside temporarily in order to reduce the state's financial crisis. This law concerns the financial operations of county school districts. It certainly applies to Rutherford County. When a budget for education is being considered, this law has a requirement that the new budget should not be less than the budget appropriation for the previous fiscal year. This is the maintenance of local funding effort requirement. This without any regard for the state of the economy of the time. Prudence dictates that we, as one state legislator suggested, set aside this law, make some sacrifices, and postpone school building projects until the economy improves. This action would be taken when necessary. Because of huge debts in our state, we should introduce this type of legislation in 2012. Thank you.
Thank you. Next agenda item is elections and confirmations. Commissioner Phillips.
Thank you, Mayor Burgess. You have on your desk a list of the notaries for this month, and I move that they be approved.
So, second, Commissioner Jernigan. All in favor, please say aye. Before we do that, Commissioner Stevens wants to make note that he is on that list.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, as you probably have seen, my name does appear on the list of applicants. I am reapplying to serve another term as a notary public, and I would like the record to indicate that I have abstained from this vote.
Okay. You've heard that request, and the clerk will make note of that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of that, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you.
Item number 2, we need to fill a vacancy on the Correctional Work Center Board. The steering committee received 2 applicants and recommends Robert Ashbury.
And a second from Commissioner Farley. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
We need to announce 3 vacancies on the Industrial Development Board and Health, Education, and Facilities Board. We also need to announce 2 citizen at-large vacancies on the Insurance Committee. We also need to announce 2 vacancies on the Community Care Board. And we need to appoint a judicial commissioner, and I forgot the name.
Is it in your packet? I don't have that up here with me. Just give us one moment. Do you have that? Yes, sir. We have that. Clerk has that with us. Well, there's 3 of those, Commissioner. You have those now?
I did. I'm sorry. It's
That's
my
okay.
fault. I apologize. 3 judicial commissioners, Suzanne Kaufman, Amy Anderson, and Keena Deal, and I move for their appointment.
All right. Now a second from Commissioner Black. Any other discussion? All of you in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Okay. We do not have any unfinished business tonight, and we'll start on the reports by standing committees. You do have before you a copy of the minutes of the Purchasing Committee for June the 13th, 2011. Do we have a motion considering the... That was Mr. Schaefer and Commissioner Cook, a second. Any discussion? All in favor of that, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Now we're ready for Commissioner Ely to begin a fairly long journey with us, but I'm sure she'll be very efficient. Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee.
We will begin with the general fund budget amendments, item A2A. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the general fund be amended as follows. And first of all, we will do the 2010-2011 revenue adjustments. Revenue adjustments are done to get the estimated revenues as close as possible to what will actually be received, and we will be doing revenue adjustments for all the funds as part of this agenda tonight. So if you will notice the revenue adjustments for the general fund, we have an increase to estimated revenues of $1,463,275, an increase to expenditures and reserves of $1,470,600, resulting in a net decrease to unassigned fund balance of $7,325. A budget amendment from the county attorney from unassigned fund balance $5,005 to secretary $3,350 and the related benefits. This is for a retiree, an employee who is retiring and paying out the accumulated leave. From the planning department, from unassigned fund balance $5,000 to consultants $5,000. Stormwater management from unassigned fund balance $5,900 to engineering services $5,900. Information technology and geographic information systems from GIS, data processing services $10,500, maintenance agreements $21,000, data processing equipment $10,000. And this is for numerous needs in various county departments. This going to data processing services of $41,500. Sheriff's Department and Jail, increased revenue, sale of property, $36,200, increased expenditures, site development, $12,000, increased unassigned fund balance, $24,200. Increased revenue, contribution and gifts, $1,100, increased expenditures, other contracted services, $1,100. Increased revenue, other local revenue, $10,580. This is revenue from CCMSI going and increased expenditures, jail and repair of buildings for storm damage to the roof, $10,580. Increased revenue, insurance recovery, $9,636. From sheriff, maintenance and repair of vehicles, $13,417. To sheriff and motor vehicles, $23,053. Correctional Work Center, unassigned fund balance, $25,000. To utilities, $25,000. County Fire Department, diesel fuel, $2,200. Miscellaneous gasoline, $1,800. To Fire Department gasoline, $4,000. Unemployment compensation, unassigned fund balance, $6,600. To Register of Deeds, unemployment, $4,500. Correctional Work Center, unemployment, $1,500. Pet Adoption and Welfare Services, unemployment, $600. Employee and dependent insurance, from employee benefits, employee insurance, $1,877. Juvenile Court and Sheriff's Department employee insurance, $1,377 and $500 respectively. Gasoline, from miscellaneous gasoline, $17,700. to county buildings, $1,500, reappraisal, $500, information technology, $700, and the garage, $15,000. Drug court from unassigned fund balance, $400, to other supplies and materials, $400. Miscellaneous unassigned fund balance, $280,000, to judgments, $280,000, and this is the general fund's share to cover liability claims. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Jernigan. Any discussion or questions? Okay, please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, 1 abstain. Motion passes.
Item I-2B, a resolution authorizing the 2011 COPS grant application. Whereas the Sheriff's Department has been notified by the United States Department of Justice of their eligibility to apply for the 2011 COPS hiring grant. And whereas the Sheriff's Department desires to apply for a 3-year grant to hire 10 officers at a cost of $1,478,370 over the 3-year period, which will provide 100% funding for the salaries and benefits for said officers. And whereas if the grant is awarded, it will be Rutherford County's responsibility to provide funding for equipping the officers at an approximate cost of $452,000. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and all other appropriate officials of Rutherford County, Tennessee, be and are hereby authorized to submit an application for the 3-year 2011 COPS hiring grant in the amount of $1,478,370 for the purpose of hiring 10 officers. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Serino, second. Any discussion? Commissioner Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to say that how much I really appreciate our Sheriff's Office. You know, they've done an excellent job, I feel like, protecting our community. It's really nice for me to be able to go home and not be worried about being protected or someone breaking into my home. And then also, back in April, I know that they protected several homes from being flooded. One specifically in my district, they went out and helped to clean up a creek to where a home wouldn't be flooded. And so our Sheriff's Office should be commended on that. However, I have an issue with us applying for this grant. And the first issue that I have is, 3 months ago, our when the Sheriff's Office budget was presented to the Public Safety Committee, there was an issue because of a domestic violence position that we were asking the county to assume. And it was a grant position, and the issue was, do we lay this person off or do we assume this position and continue to pay their salary? So there was several people who discussed that, and I know that the concern was in the future of applying for grant positions, because then we put ourselves in this issue in the future of, do we want to lay this person off, or can the county afford to pay this salary after the grant has ran out? Then, after that, part of this grant is if we apply for it and then we are awarded the grant, let's say that we have 30 patrol officers currently, in the 4th year after these patrol officers have been on the grant for 3 years, the grant's been paying for their salary for 3 years, the county must pay those 10 officers' salaries. So we would have to have 40 patrol officers on duty whether we needed them or not. My issue with this is several times in this last year on this commission, we have come across times when we have been required to do something by someone else, and then we're sitting up here complaining about somebody else required us to do this. Well, in essence, if we apply for this grant and we receive it, we are requiring the commission in 4 years, which there will be an election before then, we're requiring them to increase the Sheriff's Office budget by $500,000. Okay. The other issue I have is $452,000 would have to be paid right now out of the unassigned fund balance, is from what I understand, is where it would probably come from. Now, we're on a tight budget as it is already, okay? And I mean, I feel like if we need patrol officers, I feel like our sheriff should come to us and ask us for more patrol officers. The budget that was presented did not include patrol officers. Numerous new positions were asked for, an HVAC position, the domestic violence position, several NARC positions were asked for the county to apply to assume their salaries. And so, you know, I feel like if this was a real dire need, then that would have been asked for at the budget time. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Farley.
That night in public safety, I think I asked a question. Actually, that night the sheriff wasn't there, but I asked Chief Garrett how many people were patrolling in each district. And there's a lot of nights that there's only one deputy that's patrolling that district, or that, not that district, but that the
zone.
The zone. That's the word I was looking for. The zone. They're out there patrolling that zone, and if they've got a deputy in one zone, and then there may be another zone that doesn't have someone, their backup may be half the county away. What this is doing, it's given us 3 years, 100%. On this grant. I think the reason that they didn't ask for it in the budget this year was they were wanting to do this COPS grant. We're getting 3 free years. Yeah, in 4 years we're going to have to pay for it, but we're getting 3 years for free. Staffing levels out there, in my opinion, from what I've seen, there needs to be some staffing levels. And we've had these grants in the past. I ask you to support it.
Commissioner Jordan.
We talked about this extensively in budget, and I agree with both the commissioners that spoke. If I'm not mistaken, we applied for this grant last year, and we were not awarded any. And the request is for up to 10. We might get 2, we might get 5, we might get none. But we have another opportunity, once they award, to come back and we decide if we're going to accept it or not. That's when, at least myself and budget, agreed to support this at this point in time, because we can come back with a number. If they say 3, 4, 5, and then we can say, yes, we can provide the funding for the vehicles and stuff, and that 4th year is on the hook. You've got to sign a contract. You're absolutely right, Commissioner Phillips, that 4th year is there. But we've still got another opportunity to decide if we want to spend that money or not, and we'll have an exact number at that point in time. It doesn't cost anything at this point in time to apply. And like last year, we were turned down. So that's the reason I support this. I'm going to vote for this now. I told the sheriff in budget, I can't guarantee I'll vote for it if we're awarded it, because I want to see exactly what it costs us then. But at least this leaves our options open to apply, see what happens, and make that hard decision later instead of just saying no right now.
Commissioner Schaefer.
I agree with Commissioner Jordan, but something else. In the last 10 years, in this first decade of the 21st century, we gained 80,000 people in this county. That's 8,000 a year. So in 3 years, even if we got this grant and approved it, 3 years we have 24,000 more people, because they're still coming into this county. And another factor I think with it is if you don't apply, you lessen your chance in the future of getting the grant. And that's just a personal feeling on mine, and from other things that I've seen in my lifetime. I've been around a year or two to see that, but I'm very strong on at least applying for it, because we do not have to accept it.
Commissioner Phillips, if you wish to speak again.
Thank you again. And I agree with everything that y'all have said, but I believe that each of us know that if we apply for a grant and we're awarded the grant, it's going to go through. I mean, who's going to sit here and some of you might sit here and say, no, we're not going to take the award money, but I just feel like there won't be enough of us on the commission that's going to sit here and say, no, we're not going to take the money. So that's why I can't support it at this time.
Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Commissioner Phillips 100% about this. There's no such thing as free money. This is coming from our federal government who's borrowing it from China, and then we're perpetuating their debt problem by even applying for this. We've got to wean ourselves off of other people's money. We're addicted, especially to these ones that bind us several years later with basically an unfunded mandate, and we've been complaining about those. But if we accept this, then we put another mandate on ourselves, like Commissioner Phillips has said. And if this is something that we really do need, then the sheriff and the commission need to work together and find a creative way to pay for it ourselves and not rely on somebody else's money to take care of our problems.
All right, any other discussion? If there's no other discussion, you're ready to vote. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
16 yes, 4 no, 1 abstain. Motion passes.
Item I2C, a resolution authorizing a contract and funding for architect services for jail remediation. Whereas the brick veneer on the Rutherford County Adult Detention Center needs to be repaired, and whereas it is being proposed that Rutherford County enter into a standard form of agreement with Klein Sweeney Associates, 22 Middleton Street, Nashville, Tennessee, at a cost of $37,500 to provide architect services and daily inspection services during construction. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and any other necessary officials of Rutherford County, Tennessee, be and are hereby authorized to execute a standard form of agreement with Klein Sweeney Associates. A copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim at a cost of $37,500 for architect services for the Adult Detention Center, brick veneer repair. And additionally, that the general fund be amended as follows: utilizing the litigation tax to provide a transfer to the General Capitals Projects Fund to provide funding for the said contract. Operating transfers from restricted for public safety, $37,500, to transfers out, $37,500. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And a second from Commissioner Farley. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Item 2D, Special Purpose Fund Budget Amendments, and again, we're doing the 2010-2011 revenue adjustments. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the Special Purpose Fund be amended as follows: 2010-2011 revenue adjustments, increased revenue, investment income $11, asset forfeiture funds $1,000, increase to assign for public safety $1,011. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Commissioner Cook. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Item I2E, Drug Control Fund Budget Amendments, again, 2010-2011 revenue adjustments, decreased revenue, other statutory local taxes, $5,000, investment income, $1,600, increased revenue, drug control fines, $6,500, proceeds from confiscated property, $20,000, increase to assigned for public safety, $19,900. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Commissioner Jernigan. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Item I2F, Ambulance Service Fund Budget Amendments. We will start with the Revenue Adjustments and Trustees Commission. There is a net increase to revenue for the ambulance service of $395,958. An increase to Trustees Commission, $6,330, resulting in an increase to assigned fund balance for public health and welfare, $389,628. We also have 3 budget amendments. From assigned for public health and welfare, $6,000 to in-service staff development. This is a check from HCA Stonecrest to fund the paramedic scholarship program. Increased revenue of $17,000, patient charges, increased expenditures, refunds of $17,000. And from assigned for public health and welfare, $62,500 to judgments, $62,500. And this is funding for their portion of liability claims. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Commissioner Young. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Item I2G, Industrial Economic Development Fund Budget Amendments. And again, this is the 2010-2011 Revenue Adjustments and Trustees Commission. Increased revenue, investment income, $4,114. Increased expenditures, Trustees Commission, $41. Increased assigned for other operations, $4,073. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
And a second from Commissioner Jordan. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Solid Waste Sanitation Fund Budget Amendments, starting with the 2010-2011 Revenue Adjustments and Trustees Commission. There is an increase to revenue of $315,315. An increase to the Trustees Commission, $1,361. For a net increase to assigned for public health and welfare, $313,954. And also we do have 1 budget amendment from landfill operations and maintenance. Increased revenue, other state revenue of $25,000, and increased expenditures for disposal fees, $25,000. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Commissioner Jernigan. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, motion passes.
Highway Fund Budget Amendments. First, the 2010-2011 Revenue Adjustments. There is a decrease in revenue of $383,113. An increase to committed for highway and public works of $540,675, resulting in a decrease in assigned for highway and public works of $923,788. And we do have 1 budget amendment, administration and capital outlay. From administration, building and contents insurance, $3,925. Administration liability insurance, $35,930. Capital outlay, highway equipment, $55,000. To administration, judgments, $94,855. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
And a second from Commissioner P. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
19 yes, 1 no. Motion passes.
Item I2J, Board of Education Budget Amendments. And notice, Commissioners, we will do all of the schools-related funds, starting first with the General Purpose School Fund, and there are 9 amendments, so stay with me. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the General Purpose School Fund be amended according to the schedule, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1, incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim. The first one is for classified staff to amend $80,850 already budgeted classified staff pay and the related $11,856 in benefits to other classified staff lines, and to amend $55,000 in additional unemployment compensation for custodians by amending $55,000 from the custodians' medical insurance line. Certified staff to amend a total of $473,438 in already budgeted certified salary and benefit dollars in order to cover $284,125 in certified staff pay, $147,000 in unemployment, and the related $42,313 in benefits. Insurance to amend $208,800 in already budgeted employee insurance to the employee insurance line that need additional funding. Adult education to amend an additional $39,800 in the State of Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development Adult Education Grant revenue account numbers 46590 and 47590, and increase the related expenditures in account number 71600 and 72260. Central Magnet Startup Funds to amend $139,196 of Central Magnet Schools budgeted startup funds to the correct budget line items. Substitutes to amend $359,100 in already budgeted substitute teacher pay to other substitute teacher lines in the budget. Miscellaneous revenues and cleanup to amend an additional $271,995 in additional program-related and miscellaneous revenues, and use the revenues to cover various needs in the general purpose school budget. And you have those 8 items listed. Revenues to amend an additional $5,327,988 in net 2010-2011 revenues, an additional $849,476 in net expenditures, and to increase fund balance by $4,478,512. Career ladder and vacation pay to amend $22,600 in already budgeted state career ladder and extended contract funds and the related $934 in benefits to other career ladder and extended contract lines, and to amend $15,506 for vacation payouts. Now that is for the general purpose school fund. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Cook. Questions or discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Now the Central Cafeteria Fund. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the Central Cafeteria Fund be amended according to the schedule, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim. And the motion is to amend the centralized cafeteria fund for an additional $342,382 in revenue and $342,382 in expenditures. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second from Commissioner Jordan. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Education Capital Projects Fund, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the Education Capitals Project Fund be amended according to the schedule, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, to amend $14,750 in already budgeted expenditures in the Major Capital Projects Fund, Fund 177, to Trustees Commission, Architect, and Engineering fees. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner P. Any discussion or questions? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I2K, General Debt Service Fund Budget Amendments, the 2010-2011 revenue adjustments. And we have an increase to revenue and assigned for debt service, $918,749. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Sandlin. Discussion. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I2L, a resolution revising the designation of agriculture extension rental income. Whereas at the regular meeting on October 16, 2003, the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners adopted a resolution authorizing the rental income collected by the Agriculture Extension Center for public use of the Agriculture Extension Center facilities and grounds to be used to provide funding for account 101-57100-499, other supplies and materials, to provide funding for fencing, gates, signs, paint, and other items needed for the grounds area, and that any remaining revenue at the end of the fiscal year be designated for Agriculture Extension Center purposes. Whereas additional rental income will be generated from the operation of the farmers market. Whereas it is being proposed that the rental income collected at the Lane Agri-Park Extension Center be used to provide funding of $20,000 toward the salary of a facilities oversight position being proposed in the 2011-2012 budget in account 101-57100-189, other salaries and wages, and additionally to provide funding for account 101-57100-302, advertising. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the resolution adopted by the Board of Commissioners on October 12, 2003 is hereby repealed, and that effective July 1, 2011, the rental income collected by the Lane Agri-Park Extension Center be used to provide funding for other supplies and materials, advertising, and to provide funding of $20,000 for a facilities oversight position in other salaries and wages, and any unspent rental income at the end of the fiscal year be committed for agriculture and natural resources for the Lane Agri-Park purposes. Resolved this 16th day of June 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Commissioner Serino. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I2M, a resolution authorizing the issuance of an interfund capital outlay note not to exceed $15 million. And the purpose of this resolution is to provide interim funding for Stewart's Creek High School until we do our fall borrowing. A resolution authorizing the issuance of interfund capital outlay notes in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $15 million of Rutherford County, Tennessee, making provision for the issuance, sale, and payment of said notes, establishing the terms thereof and the disposition of proceeds therefrom, and providing for the levy of taxes for the payment of principal of and interest on the notes. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Sandlin. Discussion or questions? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I-2N, a resolution authorizing a 2-year contract with Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation for emission test compliance enforcement. Whereas Rutherford County desires to enter into a 2-year contract with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation for the provision of emission test compliance enforcement. And whereas the contract period shall be effective beginning July 1, 2011, ending on June 30, 2013, with the maximum liability of the state not to exceed $120,000. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and any other necessary officials of Rutherford County, Tennessee, be and are hereby authorized to execute a 2-year contract with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, for the provision of emission test compliance enforcement in an amount not to exceed $120,000. Resolved this 16th day of June 2011. I move for approval.
Second by Commissioner Jordan. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I-2O, a resolution authorizing license agreement with Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation for office space at No. 1 South Public Square. Whereas the State of Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation desires to enter into a license agreement with Rutherford County for the purpose of securing approximately 1,560 square feet of office and related space located at No. 1 South Public Square, Room 215, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, 37130, for the groundwater protection staff. And whereas the term of the agreement shall begin on July 1, 2011, and shall end on June 30, 2012. Whereas the state shall make payment in arrears on the last day of the payment period as follows. Payment in installments of $625 per month. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the resolution adopted by the Board of Commissioners on June 17, 2010. Should that be June 17th or June 16th? Should be 16. Sorry, I didn't catch that one early. That should be June 16, 2010, is hereby repealed.
Oh, that's correct. That was last year when.
Oh, you're right.
So it's correct.
Disregard. Let me start that paragraph again. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the resolution adopted by the Board of Commissioners on June 17, 2010 is hereby repealed, and that the county mayor be and is hereby authorized to execute a license agreement, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, on behalf of Rutherford County, Tennessee, with the State of Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation for office space for the groundwater protection staff, with the state to make payment in arrears on the last day of the payment period in monthly installments of $625, effective July 1, 2011. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Sandlin, second. Any discussion or questions? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I-2P, a resolution authorizing a grant contract with Regional Transportation Authority for Relax and Ride program. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor be authorized to execute a grant agreement with the Regional Transportation Authority, a copy of the same being attached hereto is Exhibit 1, incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, for the provision of transit services between Nashville, Davidson County, and Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, by which Rutherford County will receive service benefits for a period beginning July 1, 2011, and ending June 30, 2012, at a cost of $12,400. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And a second from Commissioner Coggin. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I-2Q, a resolution authorizing grant contracts with Tennessee Department of Children's Services for teen learning and teen tracks programs. Whereas Rutherford County desires to accept a grant contract from the Tennessee Department of Children's Services for the provision of community intervention services in the amount of $46,448, which provides pass-through funding for the Genesis Teen Tracks program. And whereas Rutherford County also desires to accept a grant contract from the Tennessee Department of Children's Services for the provision of custody prevention services in the amount of $417,696, which provides pass-through funding to the Genesis Teen Learning Program. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and any other appropriate official of Rutherford County be and are hereby authorized to execute the grant contracts with the State of Tennessee Department of Children's Services, copies of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 2, and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim, for the provision of community intervention services in the amount of $46,448, and for the provision of custody prevention services in the amount of $417,696, to provide pass-through funding to the Genesis Learning Center for the period beginning July 1, 2011, and ending June 30, 2012. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval.
And a second from Commissioner Jernigan. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
21 yes, motion passes.
Item I-2R, a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to assist self-represented litigants when they appear in various courts. Whereas Rutherford County has been notified of an available grant through the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, and whereas Rutherford County desires to submit a grant application to assist self-represented litigants when they appear in the various courts of the 16th Judicial District, and whereas a series of videos will be produced to explain the various courts and their respective procedures, and the videos will be placed on youtube.com as well as Rutherford County's website. And whereas it is proposed that a pamphlet will also be produced, which will provide the self-represented litigant with answers to general questions and provide assistance to help the individual refer to the proper video. Whereas the estimated cost to develop the program is $24,400, with a portion of the cost to be provided by Rutherford County through in-kind services. Therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the county mayor and any other appropriate officials of Rutherford County, Tennessee, be and are hereby authorized to submit a grant application to the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein by reference as if set forth herein at length verbatim. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. I move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Jordan, second. Any discussion? Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
20 yes, 1 abstain. Motion passes.
And again, thank you very much, Mrs. Ely, for a great job in doing that. We do appreciate your excellence. Excuse me, Commissioner Jordan.
Yes, sir. We're moving on, I would assume, to Health Education Committee, and I wanted to remind the body that we will not meet in the month of June. It's the Saturday. It's unusual, but it falls right after our morning meeting, so we will not be meeting in the month of June. We will be meeting, that's the 28th. We will be meeting in July, which is also unusual since that's usually the month we don't meet. But anyway, we will meet on the 26th of July. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate that. All right, Commissioner McAdoo, Property Management Committee report.
Got one report tonight. Whereas the attached ground lease agreement by and between Rutherford County, Tennessee and Envirotech Systems Corp. for leasing a property located at 271 Reekley Lane, Smyrna, Tennessee, for the purpose of conducting automobile emissions testing. A copy of said ground lease agreement being attached hereto as Exhibit 1 and incorporated herein at length verbatim as it set forth herein has been approved by the Property Management Committee. And whereas it is in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County for the county to enter into this said ground lease agreement with Envirotech System Corp. For lease and said property. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners to approve the ground lease agreement with Envirotech System Corp. For leasing of said property according to the terms and provisions contained in said ground lease agreement. Be it further resolved that the appropriate officials for and on behalf of Rutherford County be and hereby are authorized to execute for and on behalf of Rutherford County the ground lease system agreement with Envirotech System Corp. Resolved this 16th day of June 2011, and I so move.
And a second from Commissioner Cook. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of this, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
And also announcement that Property Management Committee will not meet at the month of June also.
All right, thank you, Mr. McAdoo. See, next we're ready for the Public Safety Committee report, which they do not have one, but they do have an announcement.
Public Safety won't be meeting in June meeting.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Farley. Public Works and Planning Commissioner, Commissioner Jernigan.
Public Works and Planning Committee has one resolution tonight to approve a drainage easements for 7810 Midland Road, tax map 181, parcel 6 for one easement, and Eagle Creek, section 1, lots 2, 3, 11, 12, and 13 for 5 easements. Whereas pursuant to the private act authorizing the Rutherford County Highway Commission and superintendent to work on public drainage easements and provide for the maintenance of public drainage easements requires the county legislative body establish an official list of recognized public drainage easements. The attached Exhibit 1 are the easements recommended by the Planning Department. And whereas the Public Works and Planning Committee has approved the list of public drainage easements as submitted by the Planning Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the County Commission approves the attached list of public drainage easements, Exhibit 1, as submitted by the Planning Department, in accordance with Tennessee Code annotated 54-903 and 54-904. The public drainage easement shall be the only public drainage easements which shall be worked upon by the Rutherford County Highway Department. Resolved this 16th day of June 2011, I so move.
And a second from Commissioner Sereno and others. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much, Commissioner Jernigan. Now we're ready for some extended discussion from our chairman of our steering committee, Commissioner Coggin.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was trying to get Commissioner Ely to come up and read some of these resolutions. Trying to keep up with her. I didn't make it to R yet, but we made it to H, so we're getting there. All right, Commissioners, the first resolution we have is a resolution to approve guidelines for appointed board and commission members. Be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, the guidelines for appointed board commission members, a copy of the same being attached hereto as Exhibit 1, be adopted as the guidelines for appointees to boards or commissions of Rutherford County and shall be submitted to all current and future appointees. Be it further resolved, said guidelines for appointed board and commission members shall apply to the following: Agricultural Advisory Board, Beer Board, Board of Zoning Appeals, Codes Enforcement Adjustments and Appeals Board, Community Care of Rutherford County Board, Conservation Board, Correctional Work Center Board, Emergency Communications District Board, Equalization Board, Health, Education and Facilities Board, Industrial Development Board, Insurance Committee, Planning Commission, Public Building Authority, Records Commission, Rutherford County Board of Health. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And a second, Commissioner Gooch. Any discussion? Commissioner Jordan.
I just have a question. I mean, I read over the guidelines. It all sounds great, but what's the penalty? What if you text during a meeting or act unprofessionally? I mean, is there any teeth to a rule? I would like to have a rule that's got some sort of repercussion. So I was just wondering what the penalty is. Just clarification.
Excellent question. There is no penalty, except we think this will raise the awareness of our participants to hold a higher standard. That's about it.
We could possibly add an amendment for Ms. Stevenson to get a big yardstick.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right, then. All in favor of this, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is a resolution to establish an audit committee. Commissioners, you've received this resolution tonight. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it. If it pleases the commission, I would just like to discuss it briefly and then make a motion to approve it without reading the entire resolution, if there's no objection to that. Basically, ladies and gentlemen, that we want to establish an audit committee to provide independent review and oversight of the county's financial reporting processes and the county's internal controls, a review of the external auditor's report, and follow up on management's corrective action and compliance with laws, regulations, and ethics. And with that being said, and Ms. Nolan, do you want to add anything to this? This is a document she's worked very diligently on. You want to add anything to describe or discuss about this?
No, I think you've summarized it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And do we have a second from Commissioner Turner? Is there a discussion or questions? Okay. Hearing none then, all of you in favor of this, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Next is a resolution to approve property tax exemption by Tennessee Code Annotated 67-5-223 for nonprofit community and performing arts organizations. Commissioners, this all comes about, if you'll remember, some time ago now, we approved for the old line ball library, which was the Fine Arts Center, to be given to a 501c3. However, there is a technicality that they have to go through to, that the commission has to approve this resolution in order for the assessor's office to recognize them as tax exempt from their property taxes. So this will not be retroactive. It will be from the passage of this resolution tonight. This was always the intent of the commission when we passed it. However, we didn't know about this technicality. Whereas Tennessee Code Annotated Section 67-5-223 authorizes the county legislative body by resolution to approve a property tax exemption for certain nonprofit community and performing arts organizations. And whereas it is in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County that such an exemption be approved, now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County legislative body meeting in its regular session at Murfreesboro, Tennessee on this 16th day of June 2011 that effective for county real property taxes due on or after effective date of this resolution and until this county legislative body shall revoke or amend this resolution, the exemption provided in Tennessee Code Annotated Section 67-5-223 as amended shall be applicable in Rutherford County, Tennessee. Organizations approved for this exemption by the State Board of Equalization shall report annually by March 1 to the assessor of property, listing the organization's properties for which exemption is claimed and described the uses of the property for community and performing arts purposes. This resolution shall take effect upon passage, the public welfare requiring on this first day of the new month following adoption of this resolution. Resolved and adopted the 16th day of June 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And we have a motion. Do we have a second? Commissioner Phillips. Jeff Phillips. Any discussion? Commissioner Schaefer.
Outside of the Center for the Arts, is there anything else that even comes close right now in this county for the exemption?
We're not aware that there is one in particular, but if there is, they would have the opportunity, just like the Center for the Arts, to apply to the state of Tennessee for their review. And if they were approved by the state, then they would be allowed to be tax exempt just like this particular organization. Any other questions? All in favor, then, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Coggin, Mrs. Nolan did suggest that it would be appropriate if we go ahead and announce those vacancies on that audit committee, if you would, please.
Yes, I apologize. I meant to do that. We also want to announce the vacancies for the audit committee to receive applications for that committee at our August steering committee meeting. Thank you, Ms. Nolan. We ready?
Ready to go.
Next on the agenda is to approve a resolution to adopt the Strategic Economic Development Plan. Whereas the three-star program was developed to meet the needs and challenges of the evolving economic environment in urban and rural communities and to partner with the communities to create opportunities for sustained economic growth. And whereas communities seeking certification as a three-star community must meet certain criteria, including the adoption of a 5-year strategic economic development plan. And whereas in achieving the mission of the three-star program, the Department of Economic and Community Development commits to assist communities in developing and implementing a strategic economic plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners meeting in regular session in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, that the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners declares that Rutherford County has adopted a 5-year strategic economic development plan to be updated annually. The Strategic Economic Development Plan includes the county's economic goals in promoting economic growth, a plan to accomplish those goals, and a projected timeline in achieving those goals. The Strategic Economic Plan addresses the county's goals pertaining to existing industry, manufacturing recruitment, workforce development, retail service, tourism, agriculture, infrastructure assessment, and educational assessment. Resolved this 16th day of June 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And a second from, Commissioner Allen. Any discussion? Oh, Commissioner Turner has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quick, I'm not familiar with the three-star program. How was that started? Was that a national program or is it an industrial development board?
It's a state of Tennessee program that they put in place several years ago, and this will be about our 3rd or 4th year of actually participating. But it's older than that.
Do we get to see the plan, or do we have access to that plan? We
yes,
do have
sir.
access to that plan. I just wasn't sure. That was the first I had heard of that worded like this. I wasn't sure where that was coming from.
Yeah, we'd be glad to share a copy of that with you.
Yeah, if I could get at least, I would assume everyone else would want one. If I could get a copy of that as well. My second question with this is, I know that there's a 5-year plan. Do they have to approve that plan, or are there certain conditions that they say, okay, this meets it, and if we don't meet it, we don't get it, or how is that plan? How are we granted that status if we don't meet a certain?
Basically, they have an outline of what should be included in the types of topics that should be, presented and prepared, but it's an automatic approval. I mean, our Chamber of Commerce has prepared this for us now these 3 or 4 years, and we've been a member with this basic outline and presentation this whole time.
So basically, any plan that you submit, it's gonna be approved. Okay.
That's correct. They just want us to take some focus and try to present ourselves and develop a plan. That's the whole objective here.
Do they ever give you feedback and say that's an adequate plan, or they say that you might want to focus on this, or how?
I don't think they've given us any constructive feedback, to be honest with you. They've just accepted our plan as being well documented.
The governor's 3-star program does have certain criteria and kind of outline guidelines that we're supposed to meet and adhere to.
So they're suggestions, not necessarily requirements?
Right, just criteria that they look for in the development of a strategic plan, not just shooting out from all angles, but really trying to hone in on what we can be successful in. I'm not positive on this, Commissioner, but it could possibly be tied into kind of the Tennessee Center for Performing Excellence as well as the Baldrige criteria. It's kind of designed in that way. I don't want to speak from firsthand experience, but it's kind of to gear governmental entities to that direction. Or
by participating in this from time to time, if their state offers some particular opportunity, say a grant or a low-interest loan or something, we can apply for those if we have submitted one of these plans and we're participating and have been approved.
That was actually my next question was there. So there's some sort of incentive there for everyone to participate.
There's an opportunity from time to time, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Coggin, go right ahead.
All right, next we need to approve a resolution to affirm compliance with federal Title VI regulations for the 3-star program. This kind of an accompaniment.
Wait just a moment. I don't think I actually voted on your first motion yet, did I?
I'm sorry.
Okay. On the original motion to approve the strategic development plan, we have a motion and a second on that. So any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now you can continue with the...
All right. Federal Title VI regulations. Whereas both Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Civil Rights Restoration Act of 1987 provide that no person in the United States shall, on the ground of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. And whereas the Tennessee Attorney General opined in the opinion number 92-47 that the state and local governments are required to comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act in administering federally funded programs. And whereas the Community Development Division of the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development administers a 3-star program and awards financial incentives for communities designated as 3-star communities. And whereas by virtue of the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development receiving federal financial assistance, all communities designated as 3-star communities must confirm that the community is in compliance with the regulations of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Civil Rights Restoration Act of 1987. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners meeting in its regular session at Murfreesboro, Tennessee, that the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners declares that Rutherford County is in compliance with the federal Title VI regulations. The Department of Economic and Community Development may from time to time monitor Rutherford County's compliance with federal Title VI regulations. This resolution shall take effect upon adoption, the public welfare requiring it. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And a second. Commissioner Cook, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have a resolution to approve the First Amendment to the Legal Services Agreement. Whereas the Legal Services Agreement between Rutherford County and the County Attorney provide for a secretary, and whereas the present secretary has announced her retirement, and whereas the county can reduce its cost for the support position by requiring the county attorney's law firm to employ the secretary as an example of the law firm to employ the secretary as an employee of the law firm rather than serving as a county employee with associated employment benefit costs to the county, such as Social Security, retirement, health insurance, and the like. And whereas the legal services agreement should be amended as is in the financial interest of the county. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Rutherford County, Tennessee, that the legal services agreement be amended in accordance with Exhibit 1 attached hereto and incorporated herein. In all other respects, except as amended herein, the legal services agreement shall remain in full force and effect. The mayor and all other county officials be and the same are hereby authorized to sign and enter into the amended legal services agreement resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Second, Commissioner Farley. Any discussion? Commissioner Allen.
I noticed from the meeting minutes that there was some discussion about whether or not this needed to be a part-time position versus contract labor, and I'm just curious if we got that answered by HR.
She had asked that we do some research on that to be sure, absolutely sure that Mrs. Shelton could be treated as contract. And I don't, to be honest with you, I have not done that. I don't know whether Lisa's talked to Sonia about it or not. So we don't have that answer, to be honest with you, but we will continue to do that, and I thank you for reminding me. Any other questions? All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And next, we have a resolution to establish a redistricting committee and also announce those vacancies when we are finished. We don't want to forget that either. Whereas Tennessee Code annotated Section 5-1-111 requires that at least every 10 years, county legislative bodies shall change the boundaries of county legislative districts so that the members represent substantially equal populations. And whereas the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners finds it to be in the best interest of Rutherford County to establish a redistricting committee to assist the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners with the necessary boundaries changes to county legislative districts so that members represent substantially equal populations. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, meeting this 16th day of June, 2011, that the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners does hereby establish a redistricting committee to prepare suggested redistricting plans to be presented to and voted on by the entire Rutherford County Board of Commissioners. The redistricting committee shall consist of the following members: 5 commissioners, 2 election commissioners, the election administrator, 1 citizen at large with experience with the process. At its first meeting, the redistricting committee shall elect a chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. Meetings of the redistricting committee shall be subject to the Open Meetings Provision Act of TCA, Title 8, Chapter 44. The secretary of the redistricting committee shall prepare the minutes of each meeting. The redistricting committee shall meet from time to time as necessary in order to prepare suggested redistricting plan. The chair of the redistricting committee shall report to the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners at each regular meeting of the Rutherford County Legislative Body on the status of suggested redistricting plans. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
And a second from Commissioner Jordan. Are you seconding that?
I'll be glad to second, yes, sir. And I would like to speak to it. I'd like to amend it immediately, if I could, please.
Okay. We'll take an amendment.
Thank you. Commissioners, if you would look at Section 2, Part 2, where it says 2 election commissioners. I would like to amend that to say 2 election commissioners, 1 Republican and 1 Democrat.
All right.
And that is my amendment.
And do we have a second to that amendment? Commissioner Jordan. Jordan made the motion and Jordan seconded the motion. Now, is there a discussion on the amendment? All right. No other discussion on that amendment? Are you ready to vote on the amendment? You understand the amendment? The amendment is simply where we had the language that says 2 election commissioners. That will change that to 1 would be add the following language after. you've scrolled it back down on me then, Mr. Robertson. Scroll down to that particular one. On the, just on the one Republican and one. Okay, I can't see that. Okay, to amend Section 2, Part 2, 2 election commissioners, comma, 1 Republican and 1 Democrat. It's just that simple, right? Okay, Commissioner Farley.
I guess my question to that would be, we're not elected as Republicans or Democrats in the county commission. It's a nonpartisan race. Is this going to be setting an example that we're going to be districting as Republicans or as Democrats by doing this?
Well, I think maybe the language might be more appropriate if you were to say 1 election commission that was appointed by the Republican Party and 1 election commissioner that was appointed by the Democratic Party. That's really sort of where we're going with this, I believe. Would that be your intent or not, Commissioner
Yes, sir,
Jordan?
that is my intent, and that change would be fine if, was it Commissioner Jordan that seconded that? If that's all right with him. And I should have added this, because there is a possibility, I guess, that this could happen. What would happen if we didn't have anybody, and either party? And that could be a problem, and I just want the commissioners to know that I have not talked to a soul in the Election Commission about this. So I don't know if we will have people that will apply or not, but I do know that it says right here as part of the plan that the steering passed that that's what we're going to try to do at least. So I just want to make that clear. And that change is fine with me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Excuse me, Commissioner Farley. Does that answer your question? I guess as a follow-up there, in the event we don't get an applicant from one of those appointees, then that position wouldn't be filled the way, if this is approved the way we're structuring it here. Any other discussion?
I will just publicly say for that reason, and also, I guess, for kind of the reason, Mr. Farley, I don't think that there's a need to go down that road. Hopefully it will work out that way. I don't know if it will. I have no idea. But I'd hate for us to get this far down the road to establishing this redistricting committee and then be behind another month trying to find an appropriate person from a party that would be willing to do that if they don't want to do that. We don't know about time constraints. We don't know about desire. We don't know anything. So I just want to put that out there. That would be my reason for voting against the amendment.
Okay. All right. We cannot mandate anyone to serve. So if we get applicants, fine. If we don't, we have to move forward. Mr. Stevens.
I have a question. When you say appointed by the Republican Party or appointed by the Democratic Party, you mean people who are actually serving on the Election Commission now?
Currently.
And they're not going to appoint them to our committee. They're going to have to go through the steering.
They still go through the same application process.
Okay. I just wanted to be 100% sure.
That's for sure. Commissioner Farley.
I guess my thought process right now is, we as commissioners are represented by people that are Republicans and Democrats and independents. And I'm afraid if we start setting partisan politics, and I think that's where that's heading. And I don't want this county commission to be in the newspaper like we've had in previous partisan politics. I think that's what's, I think that's got the possibility. I'm not saying that's what it is encouraging, but I think that's where it could head. Is my concern. I'm not saying that's where it's going, but I just don't want that to happen.
Okay, Commissioner Jernigan.
I disagree, Mr. Farley, there, because the election commission set up different. It's set up, got so many Republicans on it, so many Democrats. So you're going to pick one of each. It shouldn't be no problem.
All right. We've had this discussion. We have an amendment and a second to that amendment. Is there any other discussion? If not, I think you're ready to vote. On things like this that appear to be of somewhat major importance. We're just going to have a roll call vote. So please cast your votes on the amendment.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Okay. And record the vote.
$19 yes, 2 abstain. Amendment passes.
Okay.
Excuse me, 2 no.
2 noes.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
Now, Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have been so fortunate that I've had people from all over the county calling me about this committee. I've listened to their input, their suggestions, and I've come up with a series of 3 different amendments I'd like to offer to this resolution as well.
Now, Mr. Stevens, if these amendments are not, directly linked, maybe it would be wise if you would do them one at a time so that we...
But that's my intent, is to do each amendment separately. The first one, the purpose of it is just basic fairness and equal representation among people throughout the county, and hopefully the citizens who are watching this tonight will think that we are doing things that will inspire confidence in the process. And so my motion would be to amend Section 2, Subsection 1 by adding the following language after 5 commissioners: 1 of whom resides in the city of Laverne, 1 of whom resides in the town of Smyrna, 2 of whom reside in the city of Murfreesboro, and 1 of whom does not reside within the limits of any municipality. And that's my motion.
And who was that second from? Commissioner McAdoo? All right. Discussion on that amendment. And I will read the amendment again if you deem it
Could
to
you
later.
read back the makeup? Because I only heard 1 from the rural areas. And the rural area makes up a huge part of the county. And as I've said before, the people in the rural areas don't have a city council, don't have a city planning commission. Us rural commissioners are the only voice our constituents have. And I don't feel comfortable in having 1 representative on this whole board from the rural districts, because that doesn't fit well with me.
I'll ditto that. I'm a rural commissioner, and the cities in the county are great cities in the county, and we all work together. But for 1 rural commissioner to be represented on the committee, I'm totally against that.
Excuse me. We have to let the others speak first, and then we'll come back to you, Commissioner Stephen. Commissioner Farley, and then Commissioner P.
I concur exactly with the rural commissioner deal. I think we as a commission on this mechanism, we were trying to open up the process by having this committee, and I think we're heading down a slippery slope by some of the things that we're talking about here tonight.
Commissioner P.
I'd like to ask all of you sitting here not to vote for that amendment, please. I agree with Commissioner Jordan. The rural commissioners, we have a little bit harder row to hoe without having the municipalities in our areas, and we represent a huge amount of the population of this county. Thank you.
Commissioner Jordan.
I think that Commissioner Stevens has a point, but I'm going to have to disagree with it, not only for what has been said here about the rural commissioners, but for this reason. There are 21 of us. We're all going to have an equal opportunity to apply. And if we do it this way, the commissioners in the Smyrna, representing Smyrna, would choose 1 of them, which I have no problem with that particularly. I mean, that's fine. And the same thing in Laverne. And then we would limit Murfreesboro to 2 and automatically. See what I'm saying? And when we get to the county, we then have 1 of 8. And it kind of looks like that. I believe we're going to miss some talent maybe and some people that ought to be on this committee. And so I'm going to vote against this. And I appreciate your time, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Sandlin, and then Commissioner Young.
I think the due process here was set through steering, let the applicants apply. It may fall out very well like what you stated and what you want to do. It may very well fall out that way. Otherwise, it's going to be left up to the steering committee and then ultimately to the full commission to vote on these folks that are on this committee ultimately. So,
Commissioner Young.
If you look at the population of the county and you look at the population of the city of Murfreesboro, the city of Smyrna, and the city of Laverne, his makeup's right on. 40% of the population inside this county resides inside the city of Murfreesboro. That's 40%. That's almost half. That's equal representation. By saying just because your districts in the rural area are bigger doesn't mean they're more populated. That's equal representation for the folks here in this county. Those folks in the city of Murfreesboro, city of Smyrna, and city of Laverne are county residents too. They deserve that representation. And Mr. Stevens' recommendation and amendment is right on. Whether you like it or not, it's the most fair way to do it. And I encourage you to support it, and I'm going to vote for it.
Commissioner Jernigan.
The way I understood that up there staring that night, it could be this, when you do this redistricting, it won't be no Smyrna, Laverne, and Murfreesboro. You'll be equalizing them up. You're going to have, like where you may be where the county now, it may be part of Murfreesboro to equalize these up. So I think we're getting off on the wrong foot here when we're sitting up here talking about the way it's going to be. And the way I understood the rules this time, you don't say you're separating Laverne, Smyrna, and Murfreesboro in the county anymore. You're going to have to come up with 21 equal districts, ever how they fall out within a certain percent. So I think you're better off to pick 5 people, because we're all going to be working together up here. And it's going to be, to get these districts right, I've been looking at it right smart, and the only way you're going to be able to do it, some of the rules are going to get some of the cities. You got to equalize them up. It won't be like Murfreesboro's got all this big number no more. And that's the way I understand the law. The 21's got to be within a certain percent. So I'd hope we'd go back what Steering recommended that night and let the people apply and let the 21 commissioners decide who they want on it and try to work it out where everybody be satisfied.
All right. Let's see.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Robert,
the maker of the motion gets
the
maker of the motion gets priority to discussing
not
the
according
motion.
to my information. We have to let other people speak first, and then you can speak again.
I challenge the chair. I would like Mr. Cope to look in Robert's Rules of Order and see what the procedure is.
Well, we'll take a moment of respite to do that then, unless you're trying to withdraw your motion.
Commissioners, your legislative rules, which you've adopted previously under Rule 1 under the Board Part C, and I'm reading in part under speaking, no member shall speak more than once on the same subject until every other member has had an opportunity to speak. So you're probably right under Robert's Rules of Order, but our rules supersede that to the extent they speak to it. So in this case, I think the chair is correct.
Now, so many of you popped up a while ago, I don't know in which order you came up. But we have Mr. McAdoo, Mr. Schaefer, Mr. Gooch. I know those 3 people wish to speak. So, and we hadn't finished the first time yet. All right, so Mr. McAdoo, and we'll let you go, and then we're going to go with Mr. Schaefer and then Mr. Gooch.
On this redistricting process, I keep hearing that each commissioner is holding 21 districts. It could come back from this committee to be from 9 to 25 districts. So when you look at what you're saying is rural or whatever, may not be the case coming back out of this committee, because you're looking at a minimum of 9 districts up to 25. So therefore, the population is falling within the city municipalities, and we should go by the populated votes.
And Commissioner Schaefer.
A lot's happened in the last 10 years. That with 80,000 more people, in the suburbs is where most of the people have come to. And that is why I think, we need to look at the cities having representation in this, as well as the rural area. And I think the way it's going, you can see now, if you look at a map, some of these areas that were rural, like District 7, for example, 10 years ago, it had some more rural area in it than it has now, but now it's gained, what is it, 31%? It's over the average amount. The other thing is, like I said, we're not a rural county anymore, that we have to look at what's good for the whole county. I think all of us will look at that, but I think we also have constituents that need to be represented.
Commissioner Gooch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, fellow commissioners. I don't think that this amendment is right on at all. There's 8 rural commissioners. That would suggest that we would get 2 to 3 seats on the committee, not just 1. I think that the steering committee was right to say that the commissioners should accept applications and let's choose 5. But if you look at me and Gary Farley, for example, you're right. We're now partly rural, partly city, but we live in the rural area, so we wouldn't have an opportunity to serve on the committee if there was someone else from the county. So just because part of us is city and part of us is county in the same district, we're both rural commissioners. So again, if you want to do it by population, the rural commissioner needs at least 2 to 3 seats on this committee.
Now, is there anyone that hasn't spoken once that wishes to speak? Commissioner Jeff Phillips.
The other night in the steering committee, I was trying to think this through in my mind, and I wasn't successful in coming to any type of a conclusion. I heard about this proposal today and thought it had some merit, and I just went back and put pen and pencil to some of these proposals. And what Commissioner Young was saying a minute ago about it being right on from a population perspective was pretty darn close when it talked about the northern end of the county and the center of the county being Murfreesboro and then the rural counties. And with 5 commissioners serving on that, there was also a proposal made at the steering committee to increase that number up to 7 to get exactly 1/3 of the commissioners serving on that committee. That was not pursued, so it was brought back down to 5. I think that may even be an opportunity for us tonight to make an adjustment there if that's the case. But I do think if you look at, I think Commissioner Gooch just said there are 8 rural commissioners. But if you look at this, I think there are about 7 or 8 commissioners from Murfreesboro. There are 2 or 3 from the cities. So if you don't put some type of guidelines to it, where are you going to go? If you get into the steering committee, you'll have all of these debates as to trying to put guidelines to it yourself, and you'll have 7 different people trying to make sense out of it. And then when it gets here, you'll have 21 different people trying to make some kind of sense out of it. I like the guidelines. I like the fact that we said let's do it as far as 1 Democrat and 1 Republican so that we get some representation. That made a certain amount of sense. This makes a lot of sense to me, too, to put some guidelines on it. Is the 1 from Laverne, 1 from Smyrna, 2 from Murfreesboro correct? I don't know that it is, but at least it's some guidelines, and it would make that process much, much more manageable, and the decision that we go through an easier decision to make. What's the makeup? I'm not real sure. And maybe if we took it from 5 commissioners to 7 commissioners, that would give you exactly 1/3 of the commission working on that committee. And that may be an alternative too. So, but I really do like the fact that there are some rules, some guidelines that we have when we go in there, instead of just trying to debate, is this the right makeup or is that the right makeup, when we would have some guidelines to go in as to what the right makeup may be. I've not heard anything better than this.
All right, now, is anyone else that hasn't spoken? That being the case, Commissioner Jordan, I'm going to respect the wishes of the maker. Let him go next for the second go-round, and you'll be next. Commissioner Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The fallacy here is that we're not making districts based on the 21 that we have today. We're making the districts based on where the population is today. And the population is not in the rural districts. 80% of the population, or just under that, is in a city limit somewhere. The fact is, whichever way this shakes out, there will not be as many rural districts next time. There just won't. The population's not there. The districts are going to be where the population is. And if you look at the breakout of where the people live, it's almost 40% on the northern end of the county. It's just over 40% in the city of Murfreesboro, and the rest are in the rural area. So this way, everybody's interests are protected. Everybody has a seat at the table in this process that should be fair. We want everybody to have equal representation, and we want the public to have confidence in what we're doing. And so I would urge everybody to support this just as a matter of basic fairness.
Now, Commissioner Jordan.
I didn't want much. Trey touched on what I was going to say. How do you define a rural commissioner and a city commissioner? Commissioner Farley, Commissioner Gooch have got large portions of their district in each one. I've got a little bit of Murfreesboro in my district and a little bit of Smyrna after the growth that's occurred in the last few years. So am I eligible to be a Smyrna representative or a Murfreesboro representative? It's a lot of gray area here. I mean, somebody tell me whether Commissioner Farley is a rural commissioner or a city commissioner, or could he be Murfreesboro's representative? And I still say the people repeating what I said a while ago, the people in the rural areas don't have any voice besides us. And no offense to city commissioners, but we've got a bigger job in the county. We're the only voice our people have and stuff. So, but the main thing I want to know is how you define a city or a rural commissioner.
Now, let me read the language for the amendment number 1, just to clarify what Commissioner Jordan said. It says we're amending add the following language to Section 2, subsection 1, by adding, after it says 5 commissioners, 1 of whom resides in the city of Laverne, 1 of whom resides in the town of Smyrna, and 2 of whom reside in the city of Murfreesboro. So that's the way this amendment is defined. You have to be a resident, a sitting commissioner that is a resident of either Laverne, Smyrna, or Murfreesboro, and the other whom does not reside within the limits of any municipality. I want to make it clear that's the way this is structured currently. Commissioner Cook.
Didn't think I'd say anything, but if you'll go back, a lot of you cannot, some of you commissioners cannot, but there's 3 or 4 of us in here that can go back to 1990 when we were elected. And at that time we had like 100,000 in the county, and it has grown to 262. I may be a little bit less on the 100,000. It might have been a little over. But we've grown over 100,000 in 20 years. Can you imagine what it's going to be in the next 10 years? And I think that's where a lot of us are bogging down. We can't think what's going to happen 10 years from now.
Any other discussion? We have a motion on the floor to approve this redistricting plan with an amendment.
Mr. Chairman,
standing on the floor, Commissioner Allen.
Anybody who knows me knows I'm the least partisan person you will probably ever meet. So the thing that I like about this is the fact that everybody really has genuine representation. When you just look at, there are people who like to play games, especially at times like this, and I'm not one of them. I like to be transparent. I want everybody to be represented, and the obvious thing here that's not been said is that the people who are on the steering committee who are making these decisions, there's nobody from Smyrna and there's nobody from Laverne who sits on the steering committee. So to make sure that everybody's treated fairly and that the representation is made, I think this is worth your serious consideration, and I'd encourage you to support it.
Commissioner Schaefer.
It's just a quick one. We also have a person at large that's going to be on this committee, and we have 3 from the election commission that are probably going to be on here. There's rural and city on the election commission, for example. So it could come, that way. It could be another, what you want to say, a rural, or somebody else from the city of Murfreesboro or something like this.
Commissioner Tiffany Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with Commissioner Stevens. We need it to be as fair as possible. But then again, I want you to also remember that, we as a commission get to draw our district lines. And so if we are making a committee to do that, we want the most qualified people of our commission to be on that committee to do it. And we want people who have the talents to do it. We all know who people on this commission, we all have different talents. And so there might not be anybody from Murfreesboro with the proper talents to be able to do that and serve properly on that committee.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments or any other discussion? Back to Commissioner Jordan.
Well, I'm going to respond to that right away. Murfreesboro might have 3. Smyrna might have 3. Matter of fact, Smyrna does have 3. So this very motion eliminates the other 2. And I don't want that to happen. Now, I'm hoping that we just get 5 solid people that are really interested in Rutherford County as our commissioners and other members too, and then we can go from there. That is my hope. Maybe that is a foolish hope, but that is my hope.
All right, thank you very much. Any other discussion? Sir? Call for the question. Any objections to the call for the question? Hearing no objections to the call for the question, you're ready to vote on the amendment. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Okay. Record the votes.
11 yes, 10 no. Amendment passes.
Mr. Sandlin.
Yes, I would like to make an amendment to change where there's 5 commissioners that we put 7 commissioners. And 2 of those 7 will be designated with the amendment that we've already just done, which would make a total of 3 rural commissioners on this committee. So I'm asking for an additional 2, and those 2 would be rural commissioners, and that means live in the rural county.
Oh, excuse me now. The second was from, who was that, sir? Commissioner Farley. Let me go back and clarify this amendment, please. Brian, if you could bring back the amendment we just passed, just in one moment, please, and let me see that language again. Okay. 5 commissioners, 1 of whom resides in the city of Laverne, 1 of whom resides in the town of Smyrna, 2 of whom reside in the city of Murfreesboro, and 3 of whom do not reside within the limits of any municipality. Is that your motion, Mr.? So you've the amendment is to make that 1 of whom does not reside to 3 who do not reside within the limits of any municipality. So that's your motion, and the second was from who, Mr. Farley. Now, Commissioner Cook has risen. Commissioner Cook.
Does that mean that those committees, those commissioners doesn't represent Murfreesboro, or just reside? They have to reside.
They cannot reside. Those 3 people cannot reside in any municipality.
They'll be serving some that represent.
They may be serving them, but their residence is not in Smyrna, Laverne, or Murfreesboro. Or Eagleville. Okay, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would urge everyone who voted for the previous amendment to vote this amendment down for this very reason. If you have 3 rural commissioners on this committee, the 3 rural commissioners represent more per capita than 1 from Smyrna or 1 from Laverne or 2 from Murfreesboro. Their voters get more of a say in the process. And again, it all just goes back to basic numbers and objective data. The people do not live in the rural districts like they do in the ones in the city. We're not basing it off the districts of today. We're basing it off where the people live right now. And that's what the whole purpose of this was from the beginning. And I would urge everyone who supported the previous amendment to vote this one down. Thank you.
Commissioner Young.
If you looked at the population, I agree with Commissioner Stevens. If you looked at the population, it'd be 3 from the city of Murfreesboro, 2 from the county, 1 from Smyrna, 1 from Laverne. That's even more makes sense. 3 from the rural, the population's not there. It's just where people live at, And like Commissioner Stevens said, you got to have equal representation, and that's the only fair way to do it.
Other comments? Commissioner Schaefer.
I got to say that if this gets voted down, I'm going to vote against it, but I could live with an amendment that had 7 commissioners on it with 2 elected at large, sort of like what they do in the Metro Council for the.
Ooh. Okay, any other discussion? Not any other discussion. We're going to vote. Commissioner Sandlin wants to say something else.
I would certainly appreciate you supporting this. This is Rutherford County. We have all the cities that are in Rutherford County, and we're very supportive of each and every city. The city residents do have city councils that speak for them, that have city building codes, city police, so on and so forth. They pay county taxes as well. I'm not saying that at all. Yes, the populations are where they are. But we're talking about rural commissioners here that are in this redistricting process is going to entail a lot more of the cities than they ever have. That's coming. We understand that. I understand that. I don't know if everybody else that's a rural commissioner does or not. But that's something we got to grasp because we've been growing. Rightfully so. And it's going to be split up, I think, with the technology that we have today, a lot more fair and equitable than it's ever has been, period. But I would ask you to support the rural commissioners who have the say for the rural commission. We don't have the city councils to be our voice for us. It's just county commissioners, period. County police department, period. Volunteer fire departments, period. They do a great job. We're all citizens of Rutherford County. We're all taxpayers of Rutherford County. We're trying to be fair and equitable here, and I think this motion would allow us to do that. Thank you.
Commissioner Black.
Who's going to pass this at the very end of at the end of the day? Who's going to get the vote on this? The whole commission, right? I say let it be what Commissioner Stevens suggested, and that's my opinion.
All right. Any other discussion? Being no other discussion coming forward, no one is rising. This amendment would change the one person representing on this committee would be not a resident of any municipality to 3 persons. All right. Please cast your votes.
Anyone that did not vote or wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
And record the votes.
12 yes, 9 no. Amendment 3 passes.
Okay. Now we're ready to move forward. We have a motion on the floor to adopt this. Is there any other discussion on the full proposal? Any other discussion? Commissioner Schaefer.
I just have a simple question. On this committee, who winds up approving it? Because it doesn't say anything in the resolution, and it comes back to the commission to approve the
applications are going to be made to the steering committee.
The steering committee is going to make the final determination?
No, they're going to recommend them right back to this body like they normally do. Commissioner Stevens.
That was actually one of my 3 amendments I was going to offer, was to add a Section 6, which consists of the following language. With the exception of the election administrator, the steering committee at its regular August meeting shall select from any and all applicants who wish to serve on the redistricting committee, subject to the restrictions and guidelines herein, and recommend to the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners the individuals to serve on the redistricting committee with final approval of the recommendation resting with the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners. So I so move, Mr. Chairman.
I have the motion second on that, Commissioner McAdoo. Any discussion on that? Hold on. I will read it again, please. Amend to add the following language to Section 6. With the exception of the election administrator, the steering committee at its regular August meeting shall select from any and all applicants who wish to serve on the redistricting committee, subject to the restrictions and guidelines herein, and recommend to the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners the individuals to serve on the redistricting committee with final approval of the recommendation resting with the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners. That's the amendment. That's what's going to happen, but it's now formalized. Is there any other discussion? All right, if there's no other questions or discussion, all in favor of this, please say aye. Is there any opposed to that? Now, are we ready for the vote?
Commissioner
Stevens.
I had 1 more minute, Mr. Chairman. This one would amend Section 2, Subsection 4 by deleting the following language, and this is the one about the citizen at large. And the language to be deleted in my motion is with experience with the process. I think that there's plenty of people out in the county that could figure out how to redistrict. I think if it's very exclusive the way it's worded, I don't know, I've heard that there might be one person that's being pushed for this position, and I think that it needs to be open and transparent, and I think that we need to let anybody apply who wants to, and if the person with experience with the process is the one the steering committee recommends, then that's who then we can put. But my motion is to delete with experience with the process from this so that it's open to all citizens.
Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Young. Is there a discussion? Okay. There being no discussion, you must be ready to vote. Please cast your votes. Oh, excuse me. The motion is this. We have language in there that suggested that this person at large would be a person with experience in the process. And he is deleting the phrase with experience with the process. That's the amendment. Well, they're making it an open application process whereby, yes, sir. Mr. Farley.
Just like Commissioner Sandlin said, don't we want somebody that has experience in the process? I mean, are we sitting up here and doing, just anybody that don't have any experience?
Or any other questions? Commissioner Young.
Well, with that, we've got 3 election commission, and 2 members and 1 administrator with experience. I think 1 citizen at large, whether they have experience or not, should have the right to voice the opinion of the commission districts. I mean, they don't have any more experience than we do. There's plenty of people out there. It shouldn't be handpicked for 1 particular person or 2 particular persons. It should be open and fair and transparent.
Any other discussion? Wait just a minute, Commissioner Farley. I have to go with Commissioner Turner.
I think to kind of piggyback on what Commissioner Young is saying, just so I understand, when we're talking about with experience with the process, do you have to go back to the last redistricting, someone that would have been involved 10 years ago? Or was there a redistricting or a process that's happened since then that would qualify for experience? Because I think that's part of my concern. I don't know who determines who has the right experience with the process. Would that be the redistricting from 2000? Or do we not know? I'd appreciate. I understand what what were you going to say?
Well,
I just was curious about that because I obviously we want someone with experience, but when I ran for this position, I had never run for public office in my life, and I ended up, thankfully, winning my election. But I didn't have the experience in political office, and I just don't want us ruling out a solid citizen that's knowledgeable, smart, effective, if this language is going to eliminate someone that 2000 or before would have had to have been involved in the process, and that's what I'm concerned about, because 10 years is a long time.
Okay, any other comments? All right, Commissioner Jordan.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this at all because the steering committee can look at the experience level at that point in time. If they have 5 people apply and one's got experience, they can use that to weigh their vote at that time. So I don't see if this hurts anything one way or the other.
Okay. That being the case, is any other one that wishes to speak? All right, we're going to, please cast your votes on this.
Anyone that did not vote and wishes to vote, or anyone who would like to change your vote, you may do so now.
Record the votes.
Hold on just a moment, please. Got so many amendments on this. 18 yes, 3 no, motion passes. Amendment passes.
Okay, the amendment's passed. We still have the motion. The important piece here is to actually get this committee actually appointed that can function. So I think you've made suggestions and changes. Now the full motion is before you as amended. Any discussion? All right. All in favor then, please say aye. Aye. Are there any opposed? Okay, that's good. We're all in favor of this. Moving forward, we will move forward together. It is very important, and you understand that. Commissioner, excuse me, we have one. Commissioner Jordan?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Are we still on this particular item?
Sir?
Are we on the redistricting committee item?
Yes, sir. I just want to make a closing comment, if I may do so.
All right.
I just can't help myself, and I hope you won't take it the wrong way, because I certainly don't mean it the wrong way. I'm old, and I'm a grandfather, and I'm just full of advice for other people. This redistricting plan, regardless of what we adopt, and we just, I think, made some changes that I think will be very positive for this process. But this is like that hymn that we're all familiar with the dangers and the toils and the snares. And if you remember that hymn, this process, which is going to take about 4 or 5 months and supposed to end up in January, which we'll all get a chance to vote on, I'm going to urge the committee before we even select them that we're going to have to be very, very careful with this. There's a lot of room for problems, and Mr. Farley has already mentioned it twice in his early comments on this. Also, and I mean this in the nicest way that I can possibly state it, the urge to influence this process once this committee gets selected, whoever is on it, the urge to interfere and to offer opinions and influence is going to be strong. I'm urging you not to do that. We get a committee selected. That's going to be hard enough on us steering committee members, because we're going to have a lot of very experienced, good people in that room, I would imagine. But let's get a committee appointed and let them do their work, and hopefully there'll be computers involved. And I'm going to, one more piece of advice. Again, really, I'm echoing what Mr. Farley said. We need to keep political parties out of this if we possibly can, as much as possible. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
And Commissioner Coggin, would you again, please, you may have already done this, but do it again officially, please, announcing your vacancies.
Yes, sir. Of course, we are announcing the vacancies for this committee to be taken up at the August steering committee meeting, along with the audit committee vacancies as well. Just want to reiterate that. Also, there were several comments made in reference to the redistricting committee in reference to transparency and openness, and this is in the resolution, but I do want to reiterate that all these meetings will be subject to the open meetings provisions. All of them will receive public notice. Every commissioner is welcome to come and to review. The minutes will be public record. So there is definitely openness and transparency, irregardless of how many rural or urban commissioners are on the committee. Everybody will be able to know what's going on and see that. So there we go. Next. Resolution ratifying continued membership in the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee. Whereas public transportation provides access to life-essential goods and services for all citizens across Middle Tennessee, including citizens with disabilities, low-income individuals, and older residents. And whereas public transportation provides transportation to and from work, increases access to business, and spurs economic development and job creation. And whereas public transportation offers local agencies across the region an invaluable tool for addressing growth pressures by expanding options to increase capacity on the transportation system to meet growing travel demands associated with new development. And whereas public transportation has a proven role in promoting environmental sustainability by reducing air and water pollution, offering substantial energy savings, and supporting quality growth principles aimed at conserving land and other natural resources. And whereas the Tennessee General Assembly passed legislation in 2009 creating Title 64, Chapter 8, Part 2 of the Tennessee Code, codified at Tennessee Code Annotated 64-8-201 through 64-8-208, which allows the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee to assume and have authority to exercise additional powers, duties, and functions. And whereas on January 19, 2011, in accordance with Tennessee Code Annotated 64-8-203B, The Board of Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee voted unanimously to assume and have authority to exercise the powers, duties, and functions over Tennessee Code Annotated Title 64-Chapter 8, Part 2, which provides capabilities that will be essential to expanding regional transportation in Middle Tennessee. And whereas Tennessee Code Annotated 64-8-203B provides that if current local governments desire to continue their membership, they must do so by the set date of the Board of Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee, and whereas the Board of Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee set December 31st, 2011 as the deadline for local governments to ratify their continued membership in the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee under Tennessee Code Annotated Title 64 Chapter 8, Parts 1 and 2. And whereas the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners has concluded that it is in the benefit to remain a member of the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee following its assumption of powers, duties, and functions under Tennessee Code Annotated Title 64, Chapter 8, Part 2. Now, therefore, in accordance with Tennessee Code Annotated 64-8-203, be it resolved that by the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners that the Rutherford County ratifies its continued membership in the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee. Resolved this 16th day of June, 2011. Mr. Chairman, I move for approval.
Do we have a second? Who was that? Commissioner Cook?
One more time.
Whew.
We have an amendment.
Take a deep breath. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor of this, then please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Commissioner Coggan. Good job. Now we're going to recognize Commissioner Will Jordan for a special announcement and presentation.
Can I do this from here?
Yes, sir.
Well, this week, Rutherford County has approximately 60 honorary citizens for a week. The International Folk Festival dancers or entertainers are here. They'll be here all week through Saturday. They're performing tomorrow night, approximately 7 o'clock, I think, at Patterson Park. And then again, that's Friday night. If it's tape delayed, don't go watching this after tonight. And then again, Saturday morning on the square. The mayor asked me to fill in for him a couple of nights ago at an event and present them with gifts from Rutherford County. And they presented gifts back to the mayor and Rutherford County. And on behalf of one group of dancers from Puerto Rico, one group of instrumentalists from the Czech Republic, and a separate group of dancers from the Czech Republic, I want to present the mayor with the gifts from those organizations and say they're really a neat group of people. If you get an opportunity to go see them the next 2 days, because it's a big deal to them, biggest event in their life for some of them to come over here. They take it very seriously. They do a great job, and I think we'll all support them all we can.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And we do appreciate their gift that they've given us, and we will use that appropriately and display it appropriately, whatever that might be. Commissioner Turner.
Mr. Chairman, if I could take a point of privilege here. We had a young man in Smyrna named Sonny Gray. Most of you know he's a Vanderbilt starting pitcher that was actually drafted in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. And so I wanted to publicly wish him good luck this weekend in the College World Series. And as he begins his professional baseball career, Smyrna obviously has followed him since he was our quarterback for the state titles and as an outstanding baseball pitcher for Smyrna's high school team. So I wanted to publicly recognize him and congratulate him and his family on a lifelong dream that's been achieved.
Thank you very much. That is very appropriate. Commissioner Sandlin, and then, Commissioner Jordan, I believe, was up. He said first.
Thank you, and Commissioner Turner, I appreciate you bringing that up. Will Skinner, also from Oakland High School, was drafted professionally this last week, and I think that's terrific. Also, in the high jump, just bringing this out for Spring Fling, Oakland's Cody Brown won that, and Riverdale's T.J. Chesterfield was second, and Siegel's Derek McClarty was third. It was a Rutherford County sweep, which is pretty nice, I think. And in the 4x200, the Riverdale girls team, who I think can apply for airline status, Ashley Henry, Ashley Heyman, Joy Frierson, Olivia Jones won that event, and the 4x200. We had many others, second and third, from Eagleville and Laverne and a number of other high schools in the county, and our updated list is on the way. Also, since then, Spring Fling has been renewed for 2 more years, so it'll be here next year and then 2 years after that, which is terrific, and it'll be about 30,000 visitors. That's about what it was this year, athletes, student athletes, fans, and so forth, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Commissioner Sandlin.
Mr. Chairman, Mayor, County Commissioners, I know you've all been waiting for this. The 62nd Annual Blackman Barbecue is just next Friday. Next Friday night, June the 24th, be from 5 to 8 at the Blackman Middle School. And I just so happen to have a few tickets left. So the adults are $8, children are $4. We're cooking the barbecue this year on site. So it's going to be all smoked up and smelling good and everything. There'll be bouncy stuff for the kids, and there'll be nice air conditioning inside for everybody to eat. You know, in case it rains, we'll be there too. Some great country music. Everybody needs to be there. This is the 62nd annual. Don't be square and not be there. You need to be there. All right? Next Friday night. Next Friday night. And you need to see me for some barbecue tickets. What's that? No, I'm eating.
Commissioner Schaefer.
I just want to mention that starting today, and it goes through the 22nd, I think that's Wednesday, is the Southern Regional Soccer Qualifier out here at Siegel Parks. There's 194 girls and boys teams. They're 12 to 18 years old, and it's qualifying for nationals and get their rankings and everything. So if you enjoy soccer, there's going to be some pretty good play out there.
Any other business to come before this group? Commissioner Cook.
I want to go back to this grant on the Sheriff's Department. How much tax would that be in 3 years if we got the grant? How much tax would it be to the county to support this?
A little less than a penny.
Less than a penny for the $1.5 million?
Oh, well, no, I was saying for
our part.
Well, the fourth year it would be $1 million. What would it be?
Well, no, I mean, you've got 400 and some thousand for the equipment.
Oh, it's coming
the first year.
Right.
And then the recurring salaries is less than 500.
About 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a penny for the equipment
about
and then another penny for the reoccurring starting the fourth year if we were to receive the full grant.
I'm interested in all these other activities we have, but I also want to know how much money is coming out of our pocket.
Any other business? Any other? If not, then we've had a good meeting. We are adjourned.